When it comes to history, there is one voice that implores us all to understand ourselves by asking, who are you? Where did you come from? Because answering those questions may help us understand the conditions we confront today. Isabel Wilkerson is that voice. She's a Pulitzer Prize winner, author of The Warmth of Other Suns.
The Warmth of Other Suns was about the mass migration of 6 million African Americans from the Jim Crow South to the rest of the country, including to Buffalo. And it was a major turning point in our country's history. I mean, much of what we see in any city that we go to in the North, the Midwest, and West is essentially the after effects of the Great Migration. It turned out that many of them had been recruited to come to the North, but when they arrived, it turned out that they had great difficulty in the ways that some other groups have found resistance when they arrived from other countries. What my goal would be to have us be able to see all the many, many things we actually have in common, because so much of our history and so much of our even current debate reminds us of the deep divisions that we have.
In her book, she tells stories through the eyes of 3 different individuals at one time.
You're fighting for citizenship, but fighting for citizenship in your own country. It doesn't seem like that should be the case, but that was happening, right? Because at the time they were dealing with Jim Crow.
Exactly. No other group of people has had to act like immigrants in order to be recognized as citizens in their own country. And so that means that they were leaving for something very urgent and very primordial that not enough Americans know our country's true and full history.
How has it changed the South, and how has it changed the North?
Those who stayed in the South, African Americans who stayed in the South, ended up fighting this battle that we know as the Civil Rights Movement. And the Great Migration helped to spur on the efforts to rise above the challenges that they were facing. It turned out that the North wanted the labor. They wanted the people who would work in the steel mills and the factories of the North. But it turned out that they did not want the people. And how do you do that? I mean, you do that by restricting them, creating their restrictive covenants, creating redlining.
She has a new book, Caste: The Origins of Our Discontents.
It connects us to and allows us to see much of what is unfolding around us in this country. So many people in recent times have been saying something along the lines of, I don't recognize this country, or this is not what America stands for, or how is it that we got to where we are? You know, we're seeing before our very eyes efforts to go back to an earlier time, to reassert the same social order that had been in place for so long. As we saw what happened in Tennessee with the expulsion of 2 Black members of the legislature in the state of Tennessee.
2023, and we're seeing this type of behavior happening. What does this say about the future, and what can be done?
So that's the reason why I wrote Caste: The Origins of Our Discontents, to be able to lay bare exactly what the social hierarchy has become in our country, the history that led to the circumstances that we are facing as a country, and why history is one thing that we must understand in order to be able to see what it is that we're facing now.
May 14th, 2022, a mass shooting in a supermarket targeted specifically at Black people. No surprises there. And then also Tennessee. Does any of that surprise you?
We should not be surprised. We can't afford to be surprised. We don't have the latitude of being surprised. It's necessary for us to recognize what we've inherited so that we can begin to address these issues rather than continuing to be surprised. And it's time that we have an idea, because this is a matter of people's lives. This is a matter of the direction of our country. This is a matter of freedom and liberty and democracy. All of these things are at issue. All of these things are in peril if we do not recognize what we alive today are responsible to fix, to repair, to understand, to atone for, to reconcile, so the generations that follow us will not have to be dealing with that. I mean, it is our time now